I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have heard about this big Rogan podcast that went viral. Rogan had on, I believe he was he a British politician originally? I think he was. I don't know if he's just a politician or a commentator. But anyway, this guy Douglas Murray, very like pompous, posh British dude.
Literally the way first word I use when I describe Douglas Murray is pompous. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Number one, I want to thank everybody who's been watching. Oh my God, I'm so excited where this channel is going. I'm like really excited because this channel, I get to really be myself. All right, we'll leave that there. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you to every eye that watches, even the ones that don't like what I'm saying. Hey, man, dialogue is always great. Anyway, pompous. Oh, my gosh. Like, Douglas Murray makes me hate the British language, okay? So this is, and I love, the British language, Lord, the British accent. And I love the British accent, okay? I do, but not when he speaks it. But anyway, this is Kyle Kulinski wrecking Bill Maher and Douglas Murray for their pompous behavior. I mean, especially Douglas Murray. Let's get into it.
Very right-wing. So we had that guy on, and he also had on libertarian comedian Dave Smith. And, you know, the idea was they're going to debate both Ukraine and Israel. So Israel, Palestine, and Russia, Ukraine. So that was the idea. Rogan wanted these guys to debate. He respects them both. He likes them both. He brought them both in. And they were going to have at it, right? And the podcast went kind of viral because basically Douglas Murray treated it as a bit of an intervention for Rogan. And, you know, the argument he was making was basically like, look, dog, you are the number one podcast in the world, or at least he was. Now Midas Touch, the anti-Trump podcast, has dethroned him and done it pretty handily, by the way. But he is one of the most listened to podcasts in the world. There are millions and millions of people who watch every episode, hang on every word, and really take their cues from him politically and otherwise. And the point that Douglas Murray was making was like, we got to stop doing this thing where you go, who, me? I'm just talking shit with my boys. I'm just a comedian, bro.
No, that's not the point he was making, Kyle. And I'm going to have to like move on. Everybody's mad about a historian revisionist that decided to talk about a little extra stuff with World War II. And so now it's become this whole thing where not everybody should be talking. No, guess what? I'm sorry. Like, I don't believe in this point. You know, look, I get it. Joe Rogan definitely did a 180. I get it. You know, I think that he was given an amazing opportunity to interview Trump when he said before, one of the main reasons why he wouldn't do it is because it would take him weeks to prepare for an interview like that so he could be, you know what I mean, prepared for his pushback. And that did not happen. So I can understand why people are annoyed with Joe Rogan because it's like, bro, like what happened to you? You didn't really, you know, I don't know. You're not measuring up the way we wanted you to, whatever. Shout out to Joe Rogan. He's doing whatever he needs to do. I'm not mad at him. Okay. But this point is not the point. He can talk to whoever he wants to talk to.
And you can't flip on a dime where on the one hand, it's like you go out, you have Trump on, you endorse Trump, that matters, you know it matters. But then when you get some pushback, you're like, bro, I'm just a comedian talking shit. You can't hold me accountable for anything.
That's not what, don't put your words, all right, sorry.
That was sort of the point Douglas Murray was making.
No, it wasn't.
And it became more about that. It became more of like Douglas Murray trying to do an intervention for Joe than it was about a debate on the issues of Ukraine and Israel with Dave Smith. Now, having said that, Douglas Murray has, in the reaction of the internet, he has mostly been on the losing side of this debate. There's some people who are defending him, but most people are not. Most people are on the side of Dave Smith. And that's because Douglas Murray came across as incredibly pompous. And he made some really bad arguments. Like, he basically said to Dave Smith at one point, like, have you ever been to Gaza? And Dave's like, no. And he's like, huh. Because it's just such a dumb argument. Like, really? You can't know something about a conflict by reading about it, by watching documentaries on it, and you can't discuss it. You have to, like, physically be there and touch the ground. And then meanwhile, as people pointed out, Douglas Murray was going on, like, these Israeli government Zionist pre-approved propaganda tours. And he thinks like, I'm definitely getting the truth this way. And so anyway, Douglas Murray largely humiliated himself, but it's kind of weird because he's kind of pretending that the internet reaction wasn't what it was. And he's doing he went on the BBC to talk about what happened, and he went on Maher, and he talked to Bill Maher about what happened. So let's watch. And then I have a lot to say about this. My conclusion on this might be a little bit different from what other people have been saying. Here we go.
Like us do, who recognize this as a big problem on the left, but also recognize the horrible stuff that's going on the right. And you were on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago, a week ago, something like that. Got a lot of press. And I'm glad you said what you said, which is, I like Joe, but he has on people who entertain these crazy conspiracy theories and doesn't really push back on them. It's okay to have, I'm a free speech absolutist pretty much, but there seems to be no pushback on this. And of course, what's going on in this country, what we're going to probably be talking about here on the panel in a minute, this kind of encroaching fascism. I was using the term slow-moving coup before he got elected the first time.
So let me just point out before Douglas responds. Darryl Cooper was one of the points that Douglas Murray made. He brought up this guy Darryl Cooper, who's like this amateur historian who read David Irving's book and other stuff, Pat Buchanan stuff, and he was on Rogan's show, and we did a segment on this. We titled it like the Joe Rogan Nazi apologist experience.
Yeah, so there you go, right? So you're doing the same thing that you guys can't have it both ways. You don't have to agree with Darryl Cooper, okay? You don't, but you can't get mad at him for saying to Dave, well, have you been to Gaza? But then you're saying about Darryl Cooper, you just gave a fake, a fake synopsis of his background. So now Kyle has me coming at him because I would have thought as the classic liberal, he would have came after Douglas Murray. Like, what happened to when it was that we could just talk about stuff? Like, why do we have to always take whatever's given to us? I thought we were supposed to question the establishment. So what? This guy writes a book about World War II and doesn't talk about it the way you want him to talk about it. And suddenly, he's a label. This part I don't like. Both, don't worry, it's not just a left wing. It's certainly not just a left wing thing because I've been called Hamas sympathizer so much. It's ridiculous. And that's by MAGA, right? But I keep my values across the board. People can talk about whatever they want.
Or something, because this guy is just a Nazi, right? He masks it sometimes. He plays cutesy with it sometimes. But he really is just a Nazi.
All right, so we're not doing good here. Like, I'm just going to skip it. I'm not going to take part in that. That I'm not. I don't do the label thing. I don't. Sorry, guys. I really thought for a second Kyle was going to make some sense. But what happens is everybody has self-preservation. So then here we go.
Into victory. What do you do with your victory? And if those people on the American right who are now in the ascendant, if they decide that they want to use their point of victory to, for instance, lie about the origins of the Russia-Ukraine war, or lie about the nature of Hamas, or lie about the state of Israel, or lie about history. The reason I did this pushback is, you just have to. You just have to, in my view. It's basic social hygiene. If you've got somebody who's coming along who pretends to be a historian, who then can always do the thing of saying, oh, I actually don't call myself a historian, it's just other people I allow to call me a historian. I'm not a car mechanic, but if I kept on being introduced as a car mechanic, I would say, oh, no, you got the wrong guy. So they don't mind it. They have this slip out. These people that I was trying to call out on Joe's show, they are doing things like Hitler wasn't that much of an anti-Semite.
True.
No, it's not true. That's not what they said. I'm not going to take part in this. Let's see. Anyway, this is insane. I did not think that this was going to be the reaction, but I had to remember that. Oh my gosh, man, I'm just so over both sides. You don't even understand. Like, both sides I'm over. Okay? Because I just am. I really am. I am politically homeless and trying to progress to the truth.
There's obviously this crossover between the people who are just trolls. They say this because they think it's really fun to do the Jewish question, to do like a bit of Holocaust denial, a bit of Hitler praise, a bit of Churchill degradation. They think it's kind of funny. What they're watering and what's going to come up underneath them are going to be people who believe this rod. And a lot of people, you can clearly see on the right at the moment, are very happy if you can denigrate the tradition of Winston Churchill and pretend that Adolf Hitler wasn't so bad, because then you can do things like Christian nationalism. You can do really, really tough nationalist stuff. They
And
basically...
buy Kanye album.
That's the last stage. That's like the...
That's what they're really mostly afraid of. I mean, and I don't make any bones about it. Like, I am a Christian, so that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of Christians that actually have a backbone in this country. That's really what it is. So this definitely is not going the way I thought it was going to go, but okay.
So now, okay, so far to this point, I've largely been trashing Rogan and explaining how the core of the overarching point from Douglas Murray here is actually correct about Joe. And the game he plays, I'm not that powerful, I'm just a comedian, but also I control millions of people, and that's why I endorse Trump, and actually what we say matters, and we're like the new media, right? But here's where it all falls apart, unfortunately, is Douglas Murray is the last motherfucker on earth who can make this point to anybody. For those of you who don't know, he is a ultra Zionist, and he is the most brazen and loud and pathetic genocide denier when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to Gaza.
I'm so happy that we can finally come to terms and agree on something at the end of this video. Because, like, oh my God, Kyle, I was like starting to get scared here. Like, are we full Douglas Murray? Because I'm not.
This is one of those fucking assholes who still pretends like the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children is actually just Israel being really careful and only going after the Hamas militants. I'm not kidding. Nobody has ever been more wrong about anything in human history than Douglas Murray is on the issue of Israel and Palestine.
Yep. And that's why he shouldn't be talking. But Douglas Murray shouldn't be talking anyway, because Douglas Murray still wants us in wars with Ukraine, with Russia and all of this. He's like mad because America wants to pull out of wars and stuff. Americans are tired, man. Like, I'm not, it's not about a left or a right. This part, everybody can agree with. Like, nobody, like, my gosh, we are overextended across the globe. And you can get on both sides Americans to say, bring our troops home. Okay? That's number one. For any other reason, whatever, that they will say it, okay? Other than that, so thank you, Kyle, for redeeming yourself, because I was like, oh my gosh, this guy thinks that Douglas is good, and he's not. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.